Skypiea is so long, bro. The next arc is so much better. Fair warning, the next arc is kind of mid, so it's totally cool if you want to skip it. If you want to speedrun through this arc, you should totally watch One Piece instead. Guys, I love ya, but if there's anything you need to know about me, it's that I take my media consumption very seriously. If I'm gonna invest an ungodly amount of hours dissecting the unholy behemoth that is the One Piece anime so I can get those sweet clicks per views, I am not going to half-ass this shit. I don't care how much padding or quote-unquote filler this series has, I'm going to swallow this monster as it was always meant to be intended. Warts and all. Cool? Cool. Anyway, moving on to Skypiea, and I don't know what the heck you guys are going on about. I had fun with it. It had the distinct honor of being the first saga to legitimately make me laugh out loud not once, but twice. And if you know me, my oxymoronic ass takes comedy very, very seriously. But let's pull it back for a sec so I can get you guys up to speed. So the Straws re-enter the Grand Line when this big fat ship comes crashing down, killing them all indiscriminately, and thus ending the series. At least that's the story we grew up with. But when they come across these mysterious shadow giants that the show probably hasn't even answered yet, that's when it becomes readily apparent to even our resident tough guys here just how absolutely fucked they all are. So they scramble away, make a stop at the island of the chaotically neutral, and learn that there might be another island up in the clouds. Some good old finagling ensues, and they manage to make their way up to the once begotten legend that is Skypiea. But while it looks like it's all peaches and cream up here, therein lies a sinister ploy amongst its higher powers that threaten to desecrate everything that they've come to know and love. So to briefly touch upon the world here for a sec, I think one of my favorite things about this series is that it doesn't tell you a damn thing until it has to. The whole Nolan story doesn't even drop until you're like neck deep into the saga, because by then, the author has already endeared you to the characters enough that you would actually come to care about that bit of lore. Writing advice number 206, my dudes. Backstory is not a shortcut to make your audience care. Only genuine human emotions and orgasmatic fight scenes can do that. But then, of course, we got this whole business. You know how most villains get introduced with these low foreboding musical cues and over-the-top character designs that scream, "I'm gonna eat you alive, chew up your bones, and crap out your remains"? Well, not this time! So Luffy runs into this Uggo at the bar where they have this petty little argument, and I was like, man, what a jerk. I wonder if this doofus is gonna be a recurring character or something. What do you mean this is the same Blackbeard that Ace was trying to find and one of the most dangerous pirates to ever walk the face of the planet? Yeah, One Piece isn't afraid to casually drop incredibly significant characters like a random NPC. But it works because, as the saga alluded to from the start, the shittiest scumbags are, more often than not, distressingly human. And realizing that the guy you thought was pretty funny could actually annihilate your whole family with ease is a god-tier ploy to suck in your viewers. Speaking of sagas though, one thing I've noticed about One Piece is that if I wasn't paying attention, I probably wouldn't have realized just how thematically centralized each of the main storylines are. East Blue was about weakness, Alabasta was about friendships, and Skypiea, as it stands to me, was all about dreams. And like, yeah, you're talking to a guy who thought he'd grow up to animate at Pixar and direct a movie about a mother learning to reconnect with her distant daughter after a Shinigami zaps her soul into their pet hamsters, so what the fuck do I know about fulfilling dreams? But for what it's worth, I feel like one of the points that One Piece makes very evident is that dreams can actually be extremely fucking dangerous as one of humanity's greatest motivators. The first moment this hit for me was when this hyena fool tries to start shit at the bar by roasting Luffy's ambition. And in yet another one of my favorite moments coming from our beloved MC, the Luffster is like, "This ain't it, chief," and refuses to take the bait. Now, I was like Nami at first, wondering why Luffy wasn't clapping back, but upon realizing the boy got shanked up all those years ago, the lesson is largely timeless. People who spend all their time instigating random strangers for having supposedly trash tastes are vapid douchebags who, frankly, are not worth your time. Luffy is a literally flexible guy, but the man's boner to be the Pirate King is the one thing about him that will always be rock fucking hard. Haters be damned. And really, for better or worse, sometimes your beliefs are the only thing you have to keep yourself going when you pretty much have nothing else. The history of that Nolan guy was a really good example of that, cause like, that fucker refused to believe that Castle in the Sky was anything more than just okay, even when he was faced with the proverbial electric chair. That takes some cojones right there. Like, even the dude's descendant inherited those brass balls. He readily admits that he isn't expecting anything by diving into the sea on a regular basis, but he still does it because a part of him still wants to believe that maybe his ancestor really wasn't a total crock. Now, I know I'm using dreams and beliefs interchangeably here, but that's only because they kind of feed into each other. Particularly when it comes to the more touchy stuff like the existence of God and whatnot. And to be perfectly honest, I don't really expect a story aimed at horny teenage boys to handle a delicate topic like that with much tact or nuance, if you know what I mean. But nah, man, One Piece proved me wrong yet again! When that one dude and his daughter were expositing the island's religion, Zoro's skepticism prompts Chopperino to be like, yo man, you don't fuck with God? And you know what Mosshead said?
Well, for me, it's not a matter of belief. I don't see proof of it one way or another. And to be honest, I don't really care to. But if you want to, go ahead. It's not up to me to deny anyone their little beliefs.
It's not something that really affects the story, of course, but the fact that they approach it at all with a somewhat mature standpoint earns a lot more respect out of me than a lot of other quote-unquote adult anime. And keep in mind, this is before we realized that the Church of Eneru was a big stinking pile of doo-doo brains. One of the hardest truths that I can personally attest to is that as much as dreams keep you going, they can easily move closer to reality in the blink of an eye, or less charitably, be completely fucking shattered. Case in point, let's look at the two factions of this saga that have absolutely no bearing or resemblance to any real-life persons or events. The Shandians and the Skypians. Now, I don't think I'm overreaching when I say that the modern Shandians did absolutely nothing wrong, but they also did not have a perfectly clean history. A large part of their dreams back then did advocate for ritual waifu killing, and yeah, that's grounds for some finger wagging. But when Nolan introduces his own ideas that make the Shandians reassess their own value system, it ultimately leads to a more prosperous livelihood for everyone. Now, disclaimer, in the hands of a less skilled author such as me, this could have had very unfortunate implications that even now I can't look at these white savior allegories anymore without giving it the massive side-eye. But in stories where dreams have to be challenged, knowing when a specific party needs to adjust and when you need to back the fuck off and let people believe whatever they want requires a delicate balance. And for the most part, I think the Skypiea saga can be seen as a success. Now, fast forward to the One Piece equivalent of 2002 where the angel folk are living in blissful ignorance of their eventual undoing. All is well, the people are happy, and God hasn't stricken down any naysayers in at least 12 hours. So, of course, when shit hits the fan and their faith starts to waver, that's when the true test of their dreams comes to light. Not Kaya, for example, goes through the usual cycle of, nah, it's all good, to, okay, maybe this is kinda weird, to, oh shit, this guy's a total clown. Both parties end up drinking different amounts of their copium juice, and they all come out with dreams different from the ones they started with, whether it's a complete de-brainwashing due to a cataclysmic event, or the need to find a new dream because you succeeded your first one. Or you could go way off the fucking deep end like Eminem over here. Alright, look, as far as One Piece villains go, I'm digging the trend that we've been getting. Maybe I'm just mad projecting or whatever, but I've always been a fan of bad guys who are introduced all menacing-like as this huge, indomitable threat, only for the heroes to steal whatever dildo they've been stroking to reveal how much of a fucking loser they are. If there were layers of this with the Crocodile Boy, then this Anil wuss is freaking marinating in his own fragility. Like, tell me this giant gold airship thing that he basically named the Axe body spray is not compensating for something. Anyway, as Anil largely invokes, dreams born without accountability lead to delusion, and those who fail to look within themselves end up becoming an emotionally stunted man-child who still buys into that old myth that the moon is made out of cheese. Or maybe he's right, the world of One Piece really be like that sometimes. But in any case, Skypiea fascinates me because the drama here is largely self-contained. There's a point right before the climax where the Straws honestly don't have a stake to play. They made their escape and everyone they care about has evacuated, so the logical course of action obviously would be to simply get the fuck out of Dodge. But if there's one thing this show likes to point out time and time again, it's that Luffy will move the goddamn Earth out of orbit if it means that much to you. I can't think of any other anime protag who would enter the eye of a genocidal tornado and punch God in his fucking face to fulfill the dreams of someone he met just a few days ago. I really can't. And yet, here we are. Luffy is as terrifying as he is lovable, because the only thing fueling this guy's engine is the promise of dreams, whether it's realizing his own or realizing that of his bros. And I'm guessing that's the reason why this saga tends to get overlooked, yeah? I mean, personally, I really liked it. Any show that can make me shit bricks because of this moment and that moment is already a solid B+ in my book. But in the grand line of things, yes, the payoff doesn't exactly influence the Straw Hat's stake in the new pirate era, I admit. Luffy's bounty is still the same, and a lot of the plot seeds that Go-to-Sensei planted here probably won't be relevant for a while. It does feel truthful to one of life's cruel realities, though, in that dreams don't, and oftentimes never, have an immediate reward. And given that I'm hitting the prime of my life and still living at home for the sake of my quote-unquote dream, because I still can't find a way to organically point out the super thanks button that I would really appreciate you pressing if you like this video, I know the feeling all too well. That said, having the Straw Hats commit some actual piracy at the end was a much-needed palate cleanser. No, really, it was oddly refreshing to see the crew act legitimately shitty for once. Like, seeing them have no qualms about jacking a handful of gold that they were going to be gifted with anyway, and then some, is equal parts hilarious, frustrating, and deliciously ironic. Anywho, so ends another chapter in Toonstarter's journey to finish the One Piece. Now, next saga is supposed to be long as all hell, so there's a reasonable chance that I might split that whole experience into several parts. I can't wait too, because the most powerful member of the Straw Hats makes his big debut in the arc right after this one. Not to mention that sweet transition to 16:9 720 high definition. FYI, if my buddy in real life who can't start the show because the early animation quality turns him off is watching this, then I'ma just say, these first 200 episodes are going to fly by. Anyway, peace! I know what y'all are thinking. Hey, this guy's One Piece videos are pretty dang good, but it's still not quite enough for me to hit that subscribe button. And I'm here to tell you that you are right. It is not enough. In fact, here's an idea. First, hit that subscribe button. And secondly, there is no second step. Also, if for some unfathomable reason you hate One Piece and you want to spend $1 per month to let me know personally, then lucky you! I've got a Discord that lets you do just that. And if by some understandable reason you think all of my videos are complete and utter shit, then by all means, give me $3 a month on Patreon and let this random YouTuber know how much I've personally insulted you. That'll show me. Anyways, thanks for watching, get some sleep, don't forget to update your car insurance, and until then, stay tuned.